What's up, everyone? Welcome to another District Gooner Pod, brought to you by two Arsenal supporters in Washington, D.C. This is episode 35. I'm KP, and my co-host is back in the nation's capital, sitting next to me in the lab. Steven, say hi to the people.
Howdy. We back. Been a little hiatus, but we are back. What's up, people?
First of all, I think I have to issue an apology to our listeners. Left you hanging there after the Champions League game. And to be honest with you, the result didn't go our way. The performance was poor. We'll get to that in the second part of the show. But you know, the same people who back in December were saying the league's done, the manager's not good enough, they crawled out of their little caves with the same talking points. And that's probably when you needed us most. That's when you needed a footballing pod, and we weren't there. We're sorry.
We weren't there for you. And you're asking, what are these guys talking about? KP, Steven, what's going on? So, watching the Porto game. They scored. I just smashed my computer on the spot. I'm done. I'm sick. No, I'm just playing. That's not what happened. But we were recording. We're flowing. We're spitting. We're about 17, 18 minutes in, giving the people what they want, that true talk, and my computer absolutely just rebooted. It shut down, screen went black, it was dead. My computer was on its last legs for about 24 hours. She is back, so shout out to her for that, but we weren't able to put out a pod due to my computer difficulties, but here we are.
Dude, I mean, when he said that thing died, you know, that's not just a battery dying, bro. That thing pulled a full-on Jesus on us when we needed it most. And it happens. It happens. But hey, we're here now. And I tell you what, I don't think we were the only people coming into the weekend feeling like we owe people some apologies. Because the squad played against Newcastle at home, and they recognized that they needed to deliver a full-game performance.
And they did deliver. You know who also delivered? The fans. The Emirates was out. They were out yesterday, ready to go. But the players, man, there was no weak points. We absolutely dominated. Great watching that first half. Second half, Newcastle had a few moments, right? A few moments. But no, I think it was really a complete performance. Shout out to Arsenal for coming back. We've seen us drop one game, and then it quickly turns to 3. You know, then we go into the danger zone. Like you're saying, people come out of the closet, start talking Arteta out, all this mess. Nah, the performance was there yesterday. All the players, I think, were G'd up for that one.
Yeah, and I mean, like, pre-match, I think there was a talking point of revenge game, right? Bitter 1-0 loss away at Newcastle earlier in the season. So the revenge sort of talking point was there. But, you know, sometimes, Steven, you just have to remind people of their place and of their level. And that's what we did. Why do I say this? Newcastle United. What did they come to play for at the Emirates, dude? They are sitting in 9th place. 15 points behind the 4th spot. They come to the Emirates to play spoiler. That's your level, bruv. Arsenal Football Club. Title contenders, bro. That's our level.
Talking that mess, he ready. That's exactly it. Last couple seasons, right? Newcastle have been kind of our nemesis. They've been in our heads. They like to think they're probably in our heads rent-free. This performance is like, no, you're really not. You're really an afterthought. You're not on the same level with us. Immediately starting out this game, let's talk about Kai Havertz up top. The press was on. Press was absolutely on yesterday. Rice, Odegaard, Jorginho. What a midfield. Dominated. Bruno who? Bruno G. He ain't out there. He's kind of flopping around a little bit, doing his thing. Nah, backline. Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White. Kiwior got himself a goal. We out there yesterday, bro.
We were, dude. We were. And I tell you what, man, the game kicked off, and right away, David Raya went long. Kai Havertz settled it under pressure, gave it over to Martinelli, and we had a corner 15 seconds into the game. And that's when I knew we're winning this game today, bro. We are winning this game today. Listen, man, good performance. The first goal for Arsenal came off of a set piece, but leading up to that goal, the first 15 minutes of the game, we just kept winning the ball in their half and had them under pressure. I just kept thinking, dude, please capitalize on one of these. Please capitalize on one of these early.
Absolutely. The tone was set. Jorginho was the right move immediately. Things were running through him. We were all over him, not letting them out of their half. But we know the first goal is crucial. Big man, big Gabby, big header. Obviously, it fumbled over the line a little bit. It ended up being an own goal, which is too bad. But set piece Arsenal, here we are. This is who we are, and I love it.
Yeah, dude, it's who we are. We're owning it. I mean, there's all this talk about the need for a 20 goal per season striker. But hey, we have pretty much close to 20 goals from set pieces. So I don't know, man. You do the math, 39, plus 39 goal difference. So honestly, how will Liverpool and Manchester City cope with high-flying goal-scoring Arsenal?
Talking mess. This man's on one.
Okay, so I know the first goal came off of a set piece, classic stuff. So did the fourth goal. We'll get to that. Kiwi was so happy about it. So were we, man. But second goal and third goal, open play goals, dude. King Kai, second goal. I mean, Martinelli, what a beautiful run, dude. What a gorgeous pass from Jorginho. Cuts it back. King Kai's there. Great performance from him yesterday, man. Should have had a brace. But hey, goal and assist, we'll take that.
We'll take it. Jorginho, I think, is the one to hit here. That ball he puts in. He put in a couple yesterday. Kind of a looping ball, right? Over the top. And I think it's more about whoever he's playing it to. This is yours. You need to go win the ball. He put that in the space for Martinelli. You go control it. And he did. Had a good touch on it, control, put it over to Kai, and that's a tap-in. It's a tap-in goal. But the ball from Jorginho, it's kind of daring. It's not a typical Arsenal pass. I think when we're obviously a controlling team, everything is almost a sure thing. That ball is absolutely not. But Martinelli, go do your thing. I'm going to put it in front of you. Let's see what you got. Put it down. Tap in for Kai. 2-0 to the Arsenal.
2-0 to the Arsenal, dude. And there were more and more chances. I think Newcastle just kind of came into the game when there was 5 minutes left in the first half. But even to do that, they were just going long. And David Raya was sweeping yesterday. He had a good game. Yes, he got looped. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. In the first half, though, you're back. Yeah, it's perfect. Sweeping. I think Kiwior was in trouble one time. He helped him out, swept over, played it out for a throw-in. There was that moment with, I don't know who it was. Maybe it was Almiron. And he ended up being offside, but one-on-one, basically ate him up, came out, was able to get the ball off of him. So Raya had a good game. We'll get to Agent Joe in a little bit. But Arsenal, free-flowing ball. I think I heard the commentators say the word rattled yesterday. Newcastle were rattled. And I think that's a good way to say it. If there's a team I want to see rattled, it's them. Because I do not like Newcastle, like we're saying. They think they're in our heads like, nah, we're above you, bro. We're not thinking about you.
We're not, dude. And honestly, you saw it in their faces. When they made a sub. Bruno G was subbed off the pitch, dude, like 60 minutes into the game. And the way he was walking off, he looked like he had tears in his eyes, bro.
This could have been him. We were in for Bruno, remember? At one point? You could have been with us, but nah.
But nah, dude. All right, well, so I kind of touched on this. Want to get into the second half. Want to get into the third goal and the fourth goal. But right off kickoff again, dude. Second half. King Kai, he was through. He had a good one-on-one. Last time he had a one-on-one, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I stood up for him on the pod. I said he was on his right foot. He was saved. This time, he's through. It's on his left. Puts it wide. He loves going across the goalkeeper. It just looks like he kind of scuffed it. But in the doc, you wrote, Kai Havertz, timid in front of goal. Want to hit on this?
Yeah, there was just a few moments. He gets the ball, and you kind of think, take the hit. Just take it on, man. He ends up laying it off for a pass. The same, and I'm thinking of a specific instant. I didn't write it down. so forgive me on this. But so he laid it off and then he immediately gets it back and I'm like, shoot. And then he does shoot, but it just doesn't look like he puts his foot into it. It just looks tentative. And we've seen this in the past and we thought maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe that's just who he is. I don't really know. I really do like him though as our 9. And I'm going to ask you this question. Would you prefer him or Jesus moving forward up top?
King Kai has to keep playing up top, dude. He has to keep playing up top. I think the shirt is his. I think if Trossard comes in, he goes into the center mid, and hopefully one of these days Thomas Partey's back. I mean, Thomas Partey, King Kai, Jesus off the bench, Jesus on the wing. There's a lot of possibilities. The one thing I don't want to see is Jesus is healthy, so here he is back in the starting line. That for me has to be earned by him.
We've said that before, and that is absolutely true in the past. When players have gotten back healthy, they're immediately replaced. No matter what the results are, they just are thrown in. That's not the case anymore. To me, Kai is a starting 11 player. Either he's starting at the 9 or he's at the left 8 if Trossard is starting at the 9. They obviously have that interchangeable thing going on. Excellent. But Kai has cemented himself. I'm here. I'm playing. You can play me in 2 places, coach, but I am on the field.
Yeah, dude, he's on the field. That's fair. And hey, I know he missed the one-on-one, and maybe he doesn't hit it as sweetly as Starboy. So I want to get to that. 3rd goal, dude. Saka, he's found his shooting boots, man. 5 games in a row now for him. He absolutely toasted the outside back. Great strike. But hey, man, who won the ball? King Kai. In the middle, won the ball, had a little 1-2, set him up. You want to hit on Saka's goal?
Ooh, Livramento, the left back. Put him in a spin cycle. That young dude was in a wash machine, and then he got sent for a hot dog. I mean, at one point, you can see his back to the ball, and I think that's all you need to know. His back, he's looking at his own goal. The ball's behind him. He's like, oh, shit. I've been absolutely done. Saka puts a little move on him, puts it far post. That's a clean strike, too. I think, like you're saying, I think he's got his shooting boots on. He looks different. Saka hitting a little diffy after the new year. Whatever happened in Dubai, I'm loving it.
Whatever happened in Dubai, I gotta be honest with you. This is a big talking point for me, man. Before we wrap up the game reactions. Look, Bukayo's just looked so fresh. He's looked so quick. He's looked very confident. And so it begs the question, how much is the manager to be blamed for not appropriately managing his minutes in the first half of the season? Because clearly, come December, he's just running out of energy, man.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. How many times have people been talking about Saka playing a full 90, getting kicked around, and he's always on the field and he doesn't get taken out. The only time he is probably going to get taken out is when he's kicked enough where he can't get up and play. Last few games, because we're routing people, these 4 or 5-0s, he's coming off the pitch, 60th, 70th minute, getting him some rest. Maybe we can keep his legs under him. This is a big end of the season, a huge run in. I like the idea of taking him off, whether it's a big game. We've seen, say Salah comes off the field, a little upset by coming off. Still a close game, and I think that's why he reacts like that. But I think it's for the betterment of the player, right? Like, as the manager, you have to know what's best for your player. And running him into the ground is not the best thing for him.
That's fair, dude. All right, let's talk about the 4th goal, dude. The Polish babyface assassin, Kiwi. He was so happy with that goal.
Yeah, you can't watch that and not be smiling. His reaction, you gotta love it. And the players are happy for him. I mean, he got his little run in the team now, got his goal. I love it. Oh, you're talking about the smacks on the back of the head.
Yeah, dude, he earned his stripes, man. He earned his top of head smacks, dude.
I have noticed he's been like one of the first people to celebrate when we score.
Yes.
He's always there. He just loves playing right now. I think he's happy to be on the field. So I'm very happy for Kiwior.
Yeah, I mean, me too, dude. Honestly, there was a couple of times that I thought, hey, man, like, if he can't put in a performance against West Ham and Burnley, then he shouldn't be in the squad. But I think he's also brought a little bit of a different dimension to the team. He can go long. He can play that ball in the channel for our striker, for Martinelli. We just seem to be getting on the break more with him. But at the same time, I will admit, I'm still not convinced of his level when it comes to one-on-one defending. I just wonder if he's like too tall to be an outside back, and he goes up against these smaller, shiftier guys and sometimes ends up on the highlight reel.
Yeah, and we're talking about interchanging players. He can play a role. I think that's the most important part of it. He can play a role. Hopefully he has the trust now from the manager. I can do something. If you put me in the right position, if you put me in the wrong position, you ask me to do the inverted role, I can't do that. But you ask me to play left back, I can play the role. I can still put in balls. Those balls to Martinelli and Kai down the channel, those were excellent. So he can do something for this Arsenal squad.
He can. Okay. And yeah, look, all good vibes. The only thing about the game that was kind of frustrating is we didn't get to keep a clean sheet. I wanted the clean sheet, but hey, 85th minute, they got a consolation goal. But hey, if there's anyone on Newcastle that you're okay with maybe scoring, is Agent Willock.
Agent Joe, it's actually a great header. To be honest with you, something spectacular had to happen to score on us yesterday, and then something spectacular did happen. I mean, that header's looped and ends up off the post. It had pace on it. I mean, to me, there's nothing Raya could do about that. I am a little disappointed in the defending leading up to that goal because it was Reece and Smith Rowe. That's the disappointing part, I think. The rest of the goal, I mean, I ain't too fussed about, but those two guys coming on, you want to see the most from them, the most energy, the most passion. But hey, shout out Joe. Good for you, man.
Yeah, good for him, man. And hey, thanks for the 40 million. All right, the only thing about the game before we wrap up here on it, dude, Jorginho was given the man of the match by broadcasters. You agree with that?
I agree with it 100%. From early on, you could tell he was the one really pushing us forward. Things were running through Jorginho. Everyone says he's the metronome. Everything was running through him. He has the bravery to play the pass. He's playing it through the lines. Yeah, conservative at times, but he's willing to do the things that maybe other players aren't. So Jorginho was that guy yesterday.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, for me, I think King Kai, he was my man of the match. So, I mean, if he gets a brace, you know, if it's a brace and an assist, he's man of the match. But overall, his performance was so great. I think the chemistry that he has with Odegaard, particularly in defending, their positioning and their understanding of like, when do we go at the center backs? When do we just drop back? It's just a different kind of IQ that we're seeing play out. But speaking of Jorginho and his man of the match performance, I feel like this is a good transition into the Champions League match that took place on Wednesday. Hindsight's 2020, and you're now wondering, hey, should Jorginho have started that game? Did we put out the best lineup? But look, I will tell you straight up, this is why I said you probably needed a couple of just common sense footballing people to come on here and chat with you, because the fan base is so reactionary. For me, it's just a 1-0 loss. Yes, it got away from us at the end, but hey, as long as we learn from it and we grow from it, I'm very confident coming back to the Emirates with the way that we're playing, with the way the fans are behind the team, we can smash them, dude.
I agree. Coming back to the Emirates, we're 1-0 down. This is Europe. This is European football. After that game, I think you just kind of have to give some credit to Porto. They came in with a game plan. They stuck to it. Yeah, did they deserve to win the game? I don't necessarily think so. But when you play that way, that's what you're looking for, is that one moment to get the goal. And it happened for them. So congrats to Porto. We could have played better. We didn't. But it's coming home. It's coming home, so we still got a shot.
Yeah, did you see how they were celebrating? Have you seen the video of their coach like air humping and smoking his cigar? Are you kidding me, dude?
A lot of quotes after the game. They're talking mess, so I think the Emirates is going to be up for it. I think the players are going to be up for it. It's going to be a hype one.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, we'll probably do a preview pod for that match, but going into it, my only worry is that, look, you don't have to win the game in the first 5 minutes, but you can lose the tie. in the first 5 minutes.
I agree with that. I think you just have to play within yourself. I think we come in with the same game plan, control the game, get a goal, and then let's see what happens. We just have to get the one. I assume they're going to be packing it in at the back. Pepe going to be doing his thing. But I see us winning. One thing I'd like to talk about going into the Porto game, this is something we were going to hit on the pod before my computer died, was the thought of going with the same lineup. I think it was going to be 4 games in a row. It was mostly about Trossard and Kai, the combination again. That's been the new thing. We rode up 4 wins in a row, looking excellent. Now my question is, once that happens, once we're seeing this great thing happening, everyone else can see it, right? So why are we doing it continuously? My thought is, are you proactive? Are you reactive? Or put the same lineup out against Burnley. Is that necessary?
Yeah, you were a little cynical going into that game, to be fair, yeah.
So Burnley, going into it, do we need to put out our best 11 right now? I personally don't think so. Porto got to watch us play 3-4 games with this lineup. What do you think happened? They knew what to do, what to expect. Who did we put out against them? The exact same lineup. Why wouldn't you make a change? Why don't you proactive and put a new lineup in?
Yeah, I hear you on that, dude. And I've heard in the past a few experienced managers say that you have to make changes when you're winning. And one, it's to just keep the opponent guessing. 2, you don't want to make changes necessarily after a loss. That's a huge confidence hit to the players who just performed. And when you're winning, it's just easier to change things up and have some experiments and roll the dice a little bit. Because what's wrong with changing it up and then say, oh, okay, this isn't working that well 60 minutes into the game. Let's revert to what's been working, right? Let me just bring Trossard on. Like, we can go with that game plan for the last 30.
I think it's about keeping your opponent on their toes. I'm sure Newcastle thought we were going to roll out Trossard and Kai. I just assumed that because that's what we did the previous 5 games. Jorginho comes in, the team plays differently, right?
And it wasn't Jorginho at the 8. It was Jorginho at the 6. That's another nice twist.
Right. So that's being proactive. They're probably not ready for it. And we just rolled over them. We steamrolled them. Now we put out the same team over and over and over, same tactics. Guess what? People are smart enough. People are getting paid millions of dollars to do these things, right? They know what's happening. They're ready for it. They set up against us, and it's hard to break down. Now let's be proactive. Let's show different looks. I think you got to trust your players. You have to trust people that they're going to be able to perform.
You do. And look, by no means are we being harsh on the manager, right? Like, we totally back him. We, just as Americans, feel the right to ask questions. That's all.
That's funny. I do have a tweet from Orbinho, and this is after the Porto game. And it kind of reiterates, I think, what we're at least trying to say if you're not following with us. So for the most part, Arsenal play well. But the most frustrating thing about this Arsenal side is their inability to change things up when it's not going well. No changes in tactics, no substituting underperforming players, no trust in players outside the first 11. And why this is relevant after the Porto game, our attack was dire. Our attack was not working. Martinelli, I know you were upset with him after that game.
Martinelli and Trossard, both of them. Look, Martinelli in particular, I think he had a good game against Newcastle, but the last few games I've just thought, if you are the last man walking out of the tunnel and the camera's on you like that, I'm gonna need more from you, bro. I just do. The last man walking out of the tunnel puts out the performance, dude. So he needs to step it up a little bit. And Trossard, I just don't know. Was he tired? To your point, he just, he doesn't start that frequently. So maybe you just kind of ran him to the ground a little bit, giving him too many starts. Because, dude, the Porto game, he was not moving around, man.
Yeah. And if you don't see him moving around, and if you see Martinelli struggling, why don't you just change it? It's a 0-0 game. Why aren't we just throwing in? You got Reece, you got Eddie, you got Smith Rowe on the bench. Jorginho's the one that ended up coming on. To me, I don't. You got to be able to have trust in players to be able to perform to the level. If they're in your squad, there's a reason they're on your bench. Of course, moving forward next year, probably big changes afoot. But right now, this is who we have. So what can we do game in, game out to make the most efficient changes?
Yeah, look, just to put the bow on European football chat, the manager has to prove himself in Europe. That's the bottom line, dude. There's a post here from user Sack Brazo who says, here's time for maybe not very fun and maybe unfair stat, but it's a fact. Arsenal have never won a European knockout game at home under Mikel Arteta.
Time to nut up or shut up. Time to nut up or shut up. We're not trying to bag on Arteta here. I don't think that's not how we're trying to come across, because I back him. I think he's the right manager for the team. But I think it's correct just as a fan to have questions sometimes. How can we get the best out of our team moving forward? European record, why isn't it the best? You could say circumstances, yada, yada. But this team, he's brought us here. He's obviously been such a big part of what we've done. He is the reason we are here. So let's see, Arteta, 1-0 versus Porto. It's coming home. What you got?
What you got, dude? Okay, well, before we get to some other talking points, let me just update the listeners on the ladies of Arsenal and how they are doing. They were not in action this weekend, but last weekend they smacked up Manchester United 3-1 at home in front of 60,000 fans. Very cool that the ladies can bring in that kind of crowd for their games. And look, this upcoming weekend on Sunday, March 3rd, they will be playing in a North London derby against Tottenham. It's a big match for them. They're sitting in third place, just 3 points behind the league leaders, and it's a North London derby. So hopefully they can smack up those noisy guys.
The noisy neighbors. One band, one sound. Hope they do good in third place. So they're in the race, just like the men.
Just like the men. Okay, one thing that's clear as February is coming to an end, which, by the way, did you know that we're in a leap year? I had no idea that this February has 29 days.
29 days? I didn't know it was a leap year.
I had no idea, dude, until literally just yesterday. So, but anyways, it is coming to an end. It will be over soon. And then the talking points become clear, dude. It's all going to be about the run-in. I've already seen a lot of things on my socials. It's every weekend that goes by, they just post, here are all the remaining games for Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City. It's thick and fast season.
Yeah. 6 in a row so far. Got 4 games in March. Can we make it 10? That would be huge. So let's look at the schedule here through March. Starting on a Monday, March 4th, Sheffield away. Then we have Brentford at home. In between that, we have that Porto game, second leg on a Tuesday. Chelsea at home, City away. So those last 2 are going to be tough. But I guess initially your thoughts on those first 2 games, Sheffield and Brentford?
Look, Sheffield and Brentford on paper, those are dubs, man. That's 6 points in the bag. And the only thing that's kind of, I always just think having a primetime game, Arsenal, sometimes it's a little worrying. But hey, they just absolutely smoked Newcastle on primetime, didn't they? So I'm fully behind the squad. I think those 2 are... Sheffield's an easy dub. That's a game where, to your point, like, I don't want to see Jorginho. I don't want to, I change it up.
Uh-huh. I think we have so much quality, we can change it up. We're just better than them. Like, no disrespect to Sheffield, but we're just better. So you can throw out whoever you want to throw out, and they should be able to perform. If they're wearing an Arsenal shirt, they should be performing and beating Sheffield.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a team Eddie Nketiah had a hat trick against. So, and you can take that to the bank.
Don't do it to
him. Brentford at home, a little bit more tricky. It's a tricky game. But dude, I watched some of their most recent games, and defensively, they're not in a good shape or form. I just like their individual defenders. I think they're prone to make mistakes, and I just think our attacking quality is superior.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine. It'll be interesting with Tony. I think there will be some media attention on this game just for the fact of Tony, and Arsenal were in for him, yada yada. But I think we'll be all right. Then we get the Champions League game against Porto. I think we both just said we should be getting the result, or we hope to get the result in that game. at home.
That's a 4-0 game, dude.
Okay, that's wild. Champagne on the pod. He wants it. This game is the trickiest for me, the Chelsea game. Chelsea, to me, is a tricky team. We just watched them play Liverpool today in the final of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, congrats to Liverpool, by the way. Footballing pod, dude.
Yeah, Mr. Klopp on his farewell tour, winning the Carabao Cup. Chelsea, they should have won that game, in my opinion. They had so many great chances. Kelleher made some great stops, but Chelsea doing Chelsea things. But when they play against big teams, it seems like they perform. I mean, they're sitting in 10th at the table. They're probably going to end the season at 10th on the table. I do believe that. But they perform against big teams, and I think they have so much pace that it is a little bit scary sometimes because of how much pace they have. That's going to be a tricky one, in my opinion.
That's fair, dude. And I mean, when I think back to the earlier game we had with them in the season, that was a very rainy, crazy game. It was ugly, dude. It was ugly, and they pulled out a result, right? So, hey, if the conditions are nice on a good March day in North London, then hey, let's bag him and tag him.
I agree with that. Leading into City, the big one, March 31st. We got it on at 11:30 here. What do we think?
This is it, man. This is what it comes down to. I think it's fair to say, yes, there is April and May, but it feels like this March in particular is when one of the three horses will gain distance.
I agree with that because let's look at City's March. Not only is it a big March for us, it's a huge March for them. In my opinion, this is probably of the top three teams. They have the toughest March. They start with United at home, then they have Liverpool away, Brighton away, and then end the month with us. And they do have a game with Copenhagen in between, but we're not going to talk about that one because that don't matter. Those 4 games right there, if they drop points in 2-3 of those games, I think they kind of fall off. It becomes a 2-horse race because one against Liverpool and one's against us. So I'm going to assume if we can both get points off of them. I like our position in third. I think the other two probably have more pressure than us is what I would say. We're in third place. We're hanging in there. We had a terrible December. People counted us out. We're just kind of hanging around. We beat Liverpool. That's how we're back. We closed the gap. We're just kind of there playing great football. 5 in a row, 6 in a row, maybe 10. Who knows? We're just hanging around.
Yeah, why not, dude? Maybe 10 in a row. Heard it on the pod 2 months ago, by the way.
He said 15 in a row.
I said 10 or 15. But no, man, we'll see. Yeah, March is going to be fascinating. It's really exciting. City away. We've talked about it before, dude. You want to be champion, you got to go and beat them, man. You know, that's what they did to us. They came to the Emirates and they beat us like 4-1.
That's it. They took 6 points off us last year, which I think that decided the title, in my opinion. They took all 6 from us. We already got 3 off of them. We can perform again. If we could pull a 6er on them, that would be amazing. After what we did to Liverpool as well, we got 4 off of them. It's going to be a huge game. But let's get through the rest. If we can get the 3 wins leading up to it, I think we will be in good shape. Morale will be high. Go to Etihad feeling good about ourselves. But let's get the first 3 first.
Yeah, of course, we'll have podcasts leading up to most of them. And of course, we'll have podcasts after them. So before we wrap this one up, I do have a question for you, dude. There's been a lot of chatter in this environment. These click chasers, man. I'm telling you, bro, talking about who's world class and not, like somebody gave him a certification to hand out, dude. But it does beg the question. In this current Arsenal team, how many players do you think are world class?
World class. I'm going to say my definition of world class, how I personally see it. And this is how I'm going to fit these players into that category. World class is a player that you take from a team. Who wants them? How many starting 11s do they fit in, right? So you take Cristiano Ronaldo back in the day. He fits in anybody's starting 11, world class. Ribery, world class. He can fit in anybody's starting 11. So that's how I define it. I'm going to go Saka. I'll go Rice. I'll go Odegaard. I'll go Saliba. And the new emerging one, I'll go with 5. New emerging one, I'll go Big Gabby. I think any of those players, if you Real Madrid, Barcelona, AC Milan, Inter, Bayern would die for any of these players right now. They're probably getting into these teams. They're probably starters on those teams as well. That's kind of what I think of when I think world class for Arsenal.
I feel like that's totally fair, dude. Where I stood on it was I was at 4, to be honest with you. Obviously, the big 4 kind of stand out for themselves, but you gave him the precursor of emerging world class. And I think Big Gabby is the best left-footed center back in the Premier League. And if the Premier League is the best league in the world, then he's world class, baby.
Yeah. Something to add in, which we didn't add in this conversation, is international play. That could add to your world class status. He really hasn't played for Brazil yet. But I'm just talking club football. How many teams would want Big Gabby? I think a lot. He could fit into a lot of teams. He's that guy.
Yeah, dude, he's the highest scoring center back in the league since he joined Arsenal. So that's no joke, bro.
Yeah. I think all 5 of those guys could really fit into any squad.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think there's a few other players in this squad that are borderline. You know? Like, I think Kai Havertz's movement is world class, dude. Like, the way he finds this space, his intelligence. All right, when he's finishing, maybe not, right? Jesus, great player. But is he a world class number 9? I don't think so. So it's hard. And hey, maybe Martinelli Hive feel like, hey, he's world class, you know. But I'm not seeing it still, man. And if he's the last guy walking out of the tunnel, he better start putting some performances in. That's all I'm saying.
And you can be world class just for a couple years. This doesn't like define a player for the rest of their career, right? I think you can have world class moments. And there's other sports where a player, I'm trying to think of someone, say like in basketball, there's 2 or 3 years where they're just on fire, right? And then they fall off. But for those 2-3 years, they were world class. I can see that. Martinelli's not there yet, but hey, he hits his stride. He can be there for a few years, and that's all we need. We just needed to click, get some trophies. That's it.
That's it, man. All right. Well, if you want to share with us how many players you think are world class, or if we're thinking about it in the wrong way,
are we just chatting absolute shit?
you let us know. You can let us know. There's many ways you can do it. The best way is to write into the show, districtgooner@gmail.com. And hey, maybe with that, we'll just thank you for spending time with us. And hey, if you like the podcast, please rate and leave a review. Also, so sorry again for leaving you hanging. But make sure to share the pod on social. Make sure to tell your friends about it. It's the best way for others to find out about us. And we'll be back with you very soon, probably on Monday after the big game.
Be easy.